Okay, so today let's dive into something I bet you wouldn't expect. We're talking chimney sweeps.
Chimney sweeps.
Yeah, I know, right? You probably think top hats and Dickens, but honestly, there's way more to it, especially now. Like it's almost a tech thing now too, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
But it's really fascinating, actually.
Huh.
So to really sweep away some of those old ideas, pun intended, we're looking at some stuff from RoleCatcher. They've got this career guide all about chimney sweeps and then some of their marketing stuff too.
Okay, so are we like rating their career advice? Is that the deep dive this time?
Kind of,
Yeah.
but also bigger picture.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get into what RoleCatcher's doing later. They're using AI and everything. It's wild. But first, I want to get into what chimney sweeps actually do these days. Like, is it still all soot and brooms or what?
Right. Yeah.
So hit me with it. What's the deal with modern chimney sweeping?
Well, you can forget the top hat and those old brushes. Think of them more like chimney doctors.
Chimney doctors love that.
Yeah. Because it's way more than just cleaning. You're talking full-on inspections, making sure there are no cracks or like damage to the structure. They even have to be up on all the building codes and everything.
Oh, so there's like real responsibility there.
Big time. I mean, if a chimney's messed up, you could be looking at carbon monoxide, fires, the whole 9 yards.
Yikes. Okay, that's serious. See, I always forget. It's not JSD about the fireplace looking pretty.
Exactly. And here's the thing. This isn't just an old house problem either.
Really?
Yeah, so like newer houses, they're built super airtight now for energy efficiency and all that, right? But if the chimney's not maintained, all that stuff can actually make it even more dangerous if something goes wrong.
Huh. Never thought about that.
Yeah, it's something like a lot of people don't realize.
A good thing this whole chimney sweep thing is like a booming business then, right?
Oh, yeah. It's not going anywhere. And actually, RoleCatcher. They say the job outlook is super stable, which I was surprised by at first.
Stable? How so?
Well, for one, new construction. Each one needs a chimney, each chimney needs maintenance. Plus, everyone's obsessed with fixing up old homes now.
Right.
And those old fireplaces, they need love too, maybe even more.
So it's like the best of both worlds, keeping busy.
Exactly. Old and new, all wrapped up in one.
Love that.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing even though the job itself, like keeping people safe and all that's the same,
Yeah.
they're not exactly using, what, 1800s tech to do it anymore?
Oh, absolutely not. RoleCatcher had a whole section on how much tech is involved now.
Okay, so like spill the tea. What kind of gadgets are we talking about here?
Well, they've got these crazy brushes now, can reach any spot in a chimney, no matter the shape. Then you've got vacuums with like HEPA filters.
Fancy.
Right. Got to get all that soot and dust. And get this, or even cameras now that they can send right up the chimney to get a really good look around.
Whoa, high-tech chimney cam. That's wild.
I know, right? And the safety gear, too, has come a long way, especially when you're talking about those really high-up jobs.
Makes sense. Don't want anyone taking a tumble. So they're using tech to like up their game, basically.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? I mean, if you want to be the best and the safest, you use the best tools you can. But here's the thing that really gets me about all this. Even with all the fancy gadgets, the heart of the job's still the same, you know?
Keeping those chimneys in check.
Exactly. Protecting people, making sure their homes are safe from, well, a dangerous fireplace, basically. And that's where, like, the human element is just critical.
Totally. You can't program experience.
Exactly. A good chimney sweep, they can just tell by like tapping a brick or even just feeling how the air moves in the chimney. You pick that up over time, years of working on all kinds of fireplaces and figuring out how fire works, how the air flows, all that. It's almost like an art passed down.
Oh, yeah. Like through apprenticeships and stuff.
Totally. It's pretty cool, actually. And that
Yeah.
made me think about that whole entrepreneur side RoleCatcher mention. It's not just a job you clock in and out of. You can build a whole business around this.
Right. Be your own boss.
Exactly. And that appeals to a lot of people now, right? Being independent, setting your own schedule, building relationships with clients directly. It's a different way of thinking about work-life balance, which I think is huge these days.
Totally. And it's not just scrubbing soot, like you said. It's building trust. Someone's letting you into their home, a place where they need to feel safe. Speaking of which, all this has got me thinking about something I didn't expect. The whole environmental side of chimney sweeping. I mean, it's not the first thing that comes to mind.
That's so interesting you say that because it is a big deal. I mean, think about it. When a fireplace is working right, it burns way more efficiently. So you get less smoke, fewer emissions, better air quality overall. Chimney sweeps are kind of like stealth environmentalists in a way.
Whoa, never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
And it's not even just the cleaning part, is it?
Oh,
It's about teaching people,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
what kind of wood's best, how to tell if things are burning right.
Exactly. And like a chimney sweep can recommend those logs that help with creosote buildup or just encourage people to get regular inspections. Prevents bigger problems later on. Plus, all that tech we were talking about earlier, HEPA filters, all that, makes the whole thing way more eco-friendly.
Huh. So you've got a job that's in demand, lets you be your own boss, and helps the planet. That's pretty awesome when you put it like that.
Yeah.
But how do people even find their way into this world? That's
Huh?
got to be where RoleCatcher comes in, right? RoleCatcher's like the matchmaker for chimney sweeps and people who need them, huh?
That's a great way to put it, yeah. They're working both sides, the job seekers and the employers. It's pretty smart when you think about it.
So, like, let's say I'm hearing all this, and I'm like, sign me up. I want to be a chimney sweep. What's RoleCatcher do for me?
Well, they've got you covered. I mean, they have that whole career guide we've been geeking out over, right?
Right.
But it's more than that. They've got skill assessments, interview tips, all the stuff to help you get started. Like chimney sweeping 101, but way more in depth.
So they're not just throwing you in the deep end of the fireplace.
Exactly. It's like a launch pad for your chimney sweep career, which is kind of cool. But then on the other side, you've got those employers, right? They need to find good people, people they can trust. That's got to be tough for a job like this.
For sure. It's not like you could just hire anyone off the street to be messing around with fire hazards in your house.
Exactly. So that's where RoleCatcher's using all that AI stuff we were talking about earlier.
Okay, so how does that work? I'm picturing like a robot chimney sweep.
Not quite robots, not
Yeah.
yet anyway, but they basically take the job description, break it all down with their algorithms, all the skills and experience you need, and then they match it up with people in their system who fit the bill.
So it's like super powered matchmaking for jobs.
Exactly. And for something like chimney sweeping, that's huge. Remember how we were talking about trust and all?
Right. Got to have that.
So knowing that a platform like RoleCatcher is making sure those chimney sweeps are legit, that they know their stuff.
Yeah.
That's peace of mind right there.
Yeah, I can see that. Though it sounds like they do even more than just the AI matching thing, too. Almost like career coaching.
You're right. It's not just about, here's a job, go get 'em. They've got resources for chimney sweeps already working, too, like keeping up with new tech or trends, that kind of thing. Even just connecting with other sweeps to share tips and stuff.
So they're really going all in on this whole chimney sweep thing.
Yeah, it's wild, right? We started out talking about dusty old hats, and now we're talking about AI saving the planet, this whole career path most people wouldn't even think twice about.
Makes you wonder what other jobs are out there hiding in plain sight, right?
Totally. Like, what's the next chimney sweep? What else haven't we thought about?
Well, we definitely learned a lot today. And on that note, I'm going to leave everyone with one last thought as we wrap up this deep dive. We've seen how tech is changing everything about how work gets done, even for chimney sweeps. But is there a limit to that? Will we ever get to a point where the robots take over even this job?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Because, sure, maybe AI can read a resume or even spot a crack in a chimney picture. But can it ever really replace that human touch? That intuition a good chimney sweep builds up over time? I'm not so sure. What do you think?
It's funny. When you really think about it, some jobs, they're almost like an art. Chimney sweeping, that's one of them. You can't learn everything from a book. Gotta feel it out, listen to that chimney. And that kind of knowledge, that gets passed down from person to person. It's pretty cool when you think about it.
Definitely. It's a good reminder that no matter how fancy our tech gets, some things are just timeless. So next time you see a chimney, remember those folks keeping things safe and running smoothly. They're a mix of the old ways and the new, and proof that some jobs are just too important to leave to the robots. This has been The Deep Dive. We'll catch you next time, and until then, stay curious.